All right, so question number 6, it is asking for the equation in slope-intercept form of the line that passes through the given point. So first thing I'm going to do is find my slope. I'm going to use my slope formula, which is m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Note this is also on your STAR reference material guides. It's in this book. So that's going to be, I'm going to use the second point. So I'm going to say 6 minus 2, and then that's going to be 12. That's minus 4. Since this is negative x1, it's now going to become positive 4. That simplifies to 6 minus 2, which is 4, over 16. That simplifies to 1/4, or as a decimal, because our answer choices are in decimal, that would be or 0.25. So I can eliminate, now I can eliminate h, and I can eliminate j as my answer choices. So now I'm going to need to figure out what my slope, my y-intercept is. So that's my b value in slope-intercept form. Y is equal to mx plus b. In order to do that, when I know my slope and 2 points, I'm going to use point slope form. So that's y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. So this is going to be y. I'm going to use this point. So that's going to be y minus 2 is equal to 0.25 times x minus, it's going to become plus, because that's minus x1. Since our number is negative, it's now going to become plus 4. I'm going to distribute. So that's going to become y minus 2 is equal to 0.25x plus 1. We're going to add 3 to both sides. That's going to give me y is equal to 0.25x plus, that should be 3. I keep wanting to do 3. That should be 2, not 3. So then that gives me 3, which is my answer choice F. I'm skipping, my brain is skipping ahead to the final answer. All right, question number 7. Which graph represents this function given to us? It is not in slope-intercept form. It needs to be slope-intercept form. Y is equal to mx plus b in order for us to identify the graph. So that means the y needs to be all by itself. So I'm going to divide by negative 5. So this is going to become y is equal to positive 6/5 x. And then that's going to become minus 15 divided by 5 is 3. So that means we have a y-intercept of negative 3. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to eliminate my answer choices that does not have a y-intercept of negative 3. That would be A, and that would be B. Now, looking at my final 2 answer choices, I can either need to determine whether or not my slope is negative or positive, because the difference between these 2 slopes, B is negative and C is positive. I know B is negative because it's going downhill. I know C is positive because it's going uphill. So C is my answer choice. Now, we can go ahead and check our answer. I'm going to pick 2 perfect points. I got that one there, and I got another one there. So now I'm going to do my rise, which should be 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is. And then my run, it should be 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is. So we picked the right answer. Good job. Number 8, a baker determined the annual profits in dollars from selling pies using the function given. N is the number of pies sold. What is the annual profit if the baker sells 400 pies? So N is equal to 400. All we're doing is taking this 400 and we're plugging it in for N wherever there's an N. So this would be P 400 is equal to 52 times 400 minus 0.05 times 400 squared. Now, the easiest way to do this is to go ahead and use my handy dandy calculator. If not, you can just, of course, by all means, solve this manually. And when I'm using my handy dandy calculator, I'm going to turn my calculator on. I'm going to go to y equals. I'm going to make sure it's cleared, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put that function 52. And since I don't really have an n, I mean, I do have an n, but I can use x. It's just a variable. It's an arbitrary variable. So I'm going to use x minus. I'm going to make sure that I'm using this minus, not this minus, because this minus, this means negative, while this means subtraction. And then I'm going to do 0.05, and then I'm going to put the x again, and then I'm going to use this caret so that I go to my exponent, and then I'm going to hit 2. I'm going to go, I need to go to second graph. I want to look at my table list of functions. Now I want to go where x is equal to 400, that'd be a long process of scrolling. So I'm going to show you a little trick to get to 400 quickly. So see this little button here where it says Windows, and then in the blue you can see where it says Table Set. I'm going to go to Second Window. That gives me my table setup. Now notice it's got this option that says Table Start. I'm going to change that table start to be 395. Now when I go back to Second Graph, it puts my X values at 395 and I don't have to scroll very far. You're just going to have to make sure that you reset that when you go back for a normal one. All right, that gives me my Y value, which is going to give me 12,800, which is our answer choice G. And that's it. That's all you have to do with number 8. Number 9, exponential function graphed on the grid. As an exponential function, a reminder that formula is going to be y is equal to a times b to the power of x. The a is going to be your y-intercept. So looking at this graph, 6 is my y-intercept. So I'm going to eliminate wherever I don't have an a value of 6, that's C and D. While 6 is there, that would be a shift, not the y-intercept. So now our answer choices are either A or B. Your B value, to remind you, that's determining whether or not we have growth or decay. Growth, the B value has to be greater than 1. Decay, that's going to be growth. Decay is going to be B less than 1. Okay, now think about what our values are doing. We're going from our y-intercept and we're going down, getting closer and closer to the x-axis. So that means we are getting infinitesimally smaller versus growth, which a graph would look upwards like that. So this means that this one, if I look at my answer choices, this one here, our value is our B value is less than 1, so that means it's decay. Here, our B value is greater than 1, so that means it's growth. So that means our answer choice has to be A. Now, we can go ahead and double check our answer by using our handy dandy calculator. So I'm going to go back to, I'm going to clear my table or make my table back to 1, just so it's easier so I don't forget. I'm going to go to y equals, and I'm going to put in that function. I'm going to put 6, and then parentheses, I'm going to put 1/3, and then I'm going to do a caret, and then I'm going to hit the x. Make sure that your x is an exponent. Then I'm going to look at the graph. So I'm just going to hit the graph button. If you notice, it looks pretty much similar to what we have on the screen. So this, it's going down, so that means we graphed it correctly and we picked the right answer choice. All right, number 10, the last question. What is the equation in slope-intercept form of the line that crosses the y-axis at 36 and is perpendicular to the line, that means flip and switch, to the line represented by this equation? So our slope on this is -4/9. Our perpendicular slope is going to be +9/4. So I'm going to get rid of the answer choices that doesn't have 9/4. That's going to be F. That's going to be G. Those are parallel. Okay, now when it crosses the y-axis or x-axis, that would be 36, 0. That's where it's crossing the x-axis. So I can do this one of two ways. I can use my handy dandy calculator. Being that we're taking a test and we're dealing with time, using the calculator might be your best option. Looking at my answer choices, make sure you type it in correctly. I made a mistake earlier and I did not type it in correctly, so that caused issues. So I'm going to put 9/4 x plus 81, and I'm going to go look at my table list of values. So I'm going to go second graph. Where I want to go where x is equal to 36. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll down to 36. Okay, 36, while it crosses 36, x is a value, x is 36 for this function, but it's not, the y value needs to be 0 for it to have an x-intercept of 36. Okay, so while the x value is 36 here, it's not the x-intercept. So this one is not our answer choice. It has to be this one by default, but let's double check. So now I'm going to go here and I'm going to change that to negative. Make sure you use this one. I'm going to go to second graph and I'm going to go to 36. And if you notice, 36 and 0, so that does match. Just going back, taking one step further, you could go ahead and use point slope form. So that would be y minus 0 is equal to 9/4 times x minus 36. We need to distribute. That would give me y is equal to 9/4 x, 9/4, 9 divided by 4 times 36. That's going to give me negative 81. That's another way you could also quickly identify your answer choice. If you were popping this in and you were calculating, you can notice, oh, you have a negative numbers. These are the same. The only difference between those two is one is positive, one is negative. So right there, you know you can have the right answer. All right, I will see you in the next video where I will do 11 through 15.